Well, this is the kind of thing that every classic car enthusiast just hates to see. Finally got the old 49 pulled in here the other day, and it's time to finally repair all the damage from the big crash we had last October. This just makes me sick. So for those of you who are new here, I'm gonna play a little clip of the big collision we had with our 49 Chevy here last October. I just want to warn everyone in advance that the footage you're about to see is somewhat graphic and disturbing. So if you're easily offended, please do not watch. But here we go. Breaks my heart to see that again. I still replay it through my head every night. What could have been done differently, how I could have reacted differently. And it just keeps coming back to it was the vehicle's fault. None of it was my fault, obviously. Not my fault the truck I was driving had no brakes. It's not my fault it was overpowered for my driving skill. Clearly, it's these old cars that are to blame. It's always the machine's fault, and we need to make a lot of YouTube videos illustrating that, so that all the lawyers and government officials out there can come up with more laws to protect idiots from themselves. So before we dive in, we'll just do a quick survey of the damage here. See, this is all creased in here quite badly. All the way back to here. Shallow crease even all the way back here. And at the bottom here, this is all crumpled in and unhappy and bulged out here. So this needs to be pulled ahead. And to make matters worse, after the big collision there, somebody came along and they keyed it. You can see they keyed it so deep that got right into the metal here. And then another person came along and drilled a bunch of holes in it and tried to use a slide hammer to pull out the damage. And then they tried welding it up, and then they ground down their welds, but they ground into the metal as well. So everything here has just been tortured to death. And I just, I left it sitting outside in my front yard, so I guess it's on me. I should have had it somewhere safe, but again, I just couldn't stand to look at it. So these are things that happen, I guess. As usual, we're not trying to make this into a perfect thing. I'm just putting this truck together to sell as is, as a project for someone. So we're just going to make it look a little better. Unfortunately, this Fender, as bad as it is the best one I have right now, so we don't got much choice. We got to try and clean it up a bit, and we're not going to get it perfect because obviously, like I said, somebody's tried to globble it together and they've ground the metal and everything else, so it's past the point of that, but we can make it look better, we can make it the right shape and whatever, and that'll be okay, because well, look at the rest of the truck. So I'll stop talking here and we'll get started. Robertson's, my favorite. Stop! If you're watching this video on anything other than YouTube, it's been stolen by idiots and losers. This video will only appear on YouTube. If it's anywhere else, don't watch it.
Would you believe that the collision was so violent that it even dented my cab corner? And then because I used cheap tools on my repairs, my cab corner rusted out and failed. Terrible. So we kind of went against the original plan here and decided to toss a set of cab corners on this thing. Just makes it a lot easier to sell the thing when there's not any gaping holes in it. So I figured for the minimal effort required, we'd toss a set of cab corners on it. And this is not a spectacular job that we're doing. This is just quick and dirty meatball surgery. I do have another video on the channel doing cab corners on one of these trucks, and we do a little more thorough job of explaining it and doing a better job of this. Like I said, we're just trying to hammer it on so there aren't any holes. Basically, anything's an improvement at this point. So we're not gonna waste a bunch of time on it, but I think it'll increase the value of the truck to some extent, and just gives people one less thing to pick apart when they're looking at it. So thank you to Scott's Super Trucks in Penhold, Alberta for the cab corners. I buy pretty well all my sheet metal from them for these old trucks. So if you're in Canada and you need parts for a classic Chevy or a GMC truck, make sure you check out Scott's Super Trucks in Penhold, Alberta. And I'm not sponsored by them. I just buy parts from them, and they haven't screwed me over yet like some other companies. So I certainly recommend them.
Well, I've done way worse on stuff that I actually cared about. So I'm going to say that this is probably more than good enough for what we're trying to do on this old junker. It is no longer any holes down here, and that's all that really matters. So minimal effort, maximum reward.
Well, the nice thing about Saskatchewan is there's not a whole lot of difference between the end of April, the middle of August, or the beginning of January. So if you're like me and you don't like change, move to Saskatchewan.
Well, what you're about to see is the worst case of autobody piracy since Edward Teach sailed the seven seas. What happened here is this fender is all punched in and shortened, so we're using a porta power to push it all back into alignment here, which is definitely not the right approach to any of this. The best way to get this out would be to pull the damage rather than push it out. We got a porta power up against the frame, so we're hoping that the frame is stronger than the fender is. Otherwise, we got some problems, and we're just kind of relieving the stress on it while pushing on it. And with a certain amount of fettling, I hope that the hood will fit and close again. Good enough, says I. Here's the other side for reference. See, they usually sit a little proud of the fender on these advanced design trucks, and we haven't got into adjusting the hood or anything else. So I'm not going to waste any more time on that for the junky old parts truck that it is. Here's our next specimen here. You can see it's been keyed by a Brontosaurus. So we're gonna see if we can work this out. We got lots of light damage over here on this side, but we got this more obnoxious one here, so we'll knock that out and I think we're gonna call it good. Oh, sorry for the lame video this week. Can't always be fun and games around here. But this old relic is starting to look a little more presentable. And a little less like the derelict, hopeless thing that it was. So that's a bonus. I'm going to keep sprucing this thing up here for maybe another week or so until I feel it's gotten to the stage where it looks like a truck again, and then and we'll be on to something else. I know a lot of you want to see the chicken truck and the 36 get worked on, and so would I. But those projects are personal projects that don't make me any money. So we got to focus on things that are actually profitable. If anybody knows of an easy way to get this blue off of here, let me know in the comments. It'd be nice to just expose the green here. It looks like a Smurf puked on this thing, so I don't like this. But it's super thick, and it peels off where it wants to, but where it isn't peeling off, it's stuck on there good. And so I've already tried oven cleaner and lacquer thinner, and I mean, we could carefully sand it off, but then we have to be very careful because it'll just undercut into the green underneath. So, unless anybody has any miracle suggestions that we can try, I think it's just going to stay the way it is. I think I already mentioned that this is just a quick flip anyways, so, you know, there's no point in wasting any more time on it than we have to, and I don't think sanding all of the blue off is really gonna do anything for us. You know, if we're gonna do that and spend all that time on that, then you might as well just sand the whole truck down and put some primer on it or something, and I'm not interested in doing that either. So whatever I can do to get this thing out of here is gonna be what it's gonna be. And I guess if it doesn't sell, then we can always do more work to it later, but we can't do less work to it. The next several minutes of this video is just going to be an angry rant. So if you're just here for the hammering and the welding, I'm not going to hold it against you if you click off now. But if you want to hear a rant and some words of warning, then I guess stick around. And if you do click off now, don't blame me if something terrible happens to you. As we mentioned in our last video, we've been having issues with people stealing my videos and posting them elsewhere, specifically on Facebook. There's a imposter account going by Carter Auto Restyling on Facebook and Instagram, and I don't have well, I wasn't on either platform, so I didn't really have an effective way of dealing with that sort of situation. And at first I thought it was kind of funny that somebody would actually, take the time to steal all of my videos and pretend to be me. Then I saw that there are people actually interacting with this imposter and liking the videos and commenting on them. And if you do like any amount of research at all or look into it at all, you can see that it's clearly probably not me. I mean, if you just look on their Facebook thing and you see their profile picture or one of their profile pictures, I'll put it up here. You know, doesn't really resemble me. And I know what you're saying. Well, Kyle, didn't you used to be a well-dressed woman? And I know it's kind of a trend these days to play dress up and what have you, but if you look at the facial features and stuff, there's not a whole lot that's the same as me. So that would be kind of your first clue that hey, this probably isn't Kyle, and I probably shouldn't be watching this, but it seems to be an issue anyways. So I tried reporting all that stuff without an account, and then I basically got ignored and whatever by the Facebook computers and things. So I just, at first I was going to let it go, and I know a lot of you reported it, and I appreciate that. But then after my last video there, where I mentioned it, at the time I think they only had 2 followers on Facebook, and then I click on there the next day after I mentioned it in the video, and suddenly they now have like 11 or 12 followers on there, and there's still people liking and commenting and everything on the stolen videos. And then they even stole the video where I mentioned that it was stolen, and there were people liking that video, which they obviously weren't watching the whole video, which I get that people don't have to watch the whole thing, but like anyways, so that got a bit frustrating. And then I was trying to figure like what is this person's end game. Like they're spending all this time stealing my videos and then re-uploading them to Facebook. So by the time you download them, then re-upload them onto Facebook, I mean that does take a fair amount of time. I mean, not as much time as I spent making the videos, but still they have to have some sort of motive here, or they're just not particularly bright, which I don't believe that they're particularly good at whatever scam they're trying to run, but people are still following for it no matter what. And so the other thing, my concern is that they're trying to use my account or whatever to build trust and just take money from people in some which way or something to that nature. Because to get monetized on Facebook, I looked into it, and you need like 10,000 followers. So I mean, that would take you years possibly to get that amount of followers to actually get paid for the videos that you're taking from me. So I think, again, I don't think this person was particularly bright, but I don't know if they're messaging people and pretending to be me and asking for money or anything like that. But whatever it is they were trying to do, I don't particularly like the idea of that. We kind of had to go against every moral principle that I have, and go against what I said I was going to do, which I don't like doing that. I'm not exactly a model citizen, but I do generally try to do what I say I'm going to do, or not do what I say I'm not going to do. But the only way it seemed was to make a actual legitimate account on Facebook and Instagram for the channel. So that's what I did. So there's going to be a link in the description for the legitimate account, Carter Auto Restyling on Facebook and Carter Auto Restyling Official on Instagram. And I'm not interested in really utilizing either of those accounts for anything other than just to hopefully crush out this other person and bury their fake account under the you know, the algorithm does a fairly good job of hiding stuff if it's not getting interacted with. So I guess if I get enough followers on there, then the other imposter account won't show up anymore, and they'll just lose interest and start stealing someone else's content. Anyways, I made these accounts, and which allowed me to do a better, or I guess report the stuff a little better. Based on what I've found is if you report something on Facebook or Instagram, it doesn't actually go through. It just kind of makes you feel better. The only thing they actually take seriously is if you report it for those bang bang things. If you report that, the video for having that sort of thing, I think they call it violence or something of that nature, then they get right on that. And but you know, I thought about including that in some of my videos, but then I get banned on YouTube, so wouldn't really help me out. But anyways, after doing all those reports and everything and not getting anywhere, then I went back to filling out the copyright infringement forms, which we already tried that and it didn't work out. But now that I have an account, and after doing more research, I kind of figured out the right words to use to get the robot to actually realize that there's something going on here. So after that, an entire day of filling out copyright infringement forms, they finally came around and they deleted all of my videos from the impostor Facebook account. They still haven't banned the impostor accounts. They're still there, they're still active, and people are still following them. But as of right now, the videos are down. And I would say that whoever's stealing them is probably going to continue to do it anyways, so I'm going to have to stay on this constantly. And there's not really any winning here. I mean, that was a whole day wasted that I could have been doing something productive, and I had to go against my word on something to get the situation sorted out. But again, I don't want to see any of you folks getting ripped off or scammed or whatever. So it's just going to be a necessary evil, I guess. I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined that this YouTube thing would have taken off so quickly, and to the point where there's actually people out there that are, you know, spending real time trying to impersonate you and rip your stuff off. So I don't quite know how to deal with that. If I know then what I knew now, I probably wouldn't have bothered with the whole YouTube thing to begin with. What kind of started as a joke turned into something that's kind of beyond my control. Social media brings out the worst in all of us, even the best of us. You know, we're kind of dragged down by that vacuum, and I certainly don't like what social media does to me, and I wasn't exactly a model citizen to begin with. There are also a lot of, I guess, positives, at least to this YouTube thing. So we're in too deep now to actually, you know, get rid of it. So we'll continue on, and I know a lot of you seem to get some sort of value out of this. Obviously not out of this episode. This episode was pretty bad, but hopefully we'll have better episodes in the future. But yeah, I don't want to, you know, go back on it now and disappoint a whole bunch of people that seem to enjoy it. So we'll carry on, and we'll just have to improvise and adapt and do what we got to do to get by. I am working with a company right now who's going to be, if it all works out, they're going to be paying me to use some of my videos on their social media accounts on Facebook. I don't know what exactly their plan is for those videos. I think they're going to be re-editing them and using them in some which way. It's still all supposed to kind of link back to my channel, and they will be paying me for the use of those videos. So I'll keep everyone updated on how that goes. It wasn't really something I was interested in at first, but after all of this happening, I figure, you know, if people are going to be ripping my stuff off anyways, I might as well be getting paid for it. And they've got a whole team of lawyers that can take care of anyone else who's using my content without my permission. And if it all works out, We're gonna use the money that they're paying me to go out and buy another project truck for the channel that we can fix up and sell. Didn't really want to do a full series on this one because it's already had floors and stuff put in it by someone else, and they are welded in, but they're not like spectacular. So if I was trying to do a full build, I'd have to cut all that out and start over. Whereas the way it is now, it's good for somebody to make into a beater or I guess rat rod or whatever they're called. Not really my thing, but I guess it's better than this thing just sitting and rotting in my yard. So once we get this thing out of here in a couple of weeks here, we're gonna go hunting, and I've got my eye on a couple different project vehicles that we could purchase, and probably not advanced design. That being said, if I find another one of these trucks for a good price, then I will buy it. But I would like to do something a little different, work on a different vehicle and fix it up and then sell it. Right now, we're not gonna stop working on 36 Chevy or the chicken truck or any of that. But those are all my personal projects, and so right now, YouTube isn't profitable enough where I can work on that every day, obviously. And I don't know if it ever will be, but we'll still continue working on those projects, but it'll be, as an aside, I still gotta be able to buy trucks and fix them and sell them to actually, support myself to some extent. I just wanted to rant and keep you updated on the whole imposter situation. Again, I don't want to see any of you get ripped off or scammed or misled or whatever, but I can't be there to protect you on your internet journey. I wish I could be, but I can't, I'm not going to be able to prevent this from happening in the future. And same thing with all those scam comments on YouTube where they say you won the prize or whatever, all that, it's I can only warn people so much. Like I said, I warned people about the Facebook thing in the last video, and all it did was get them more followers, and there were still people interacting with it. So I can't help everyone, so you're kind of on your own, but I just thought I'd at least warn you again. And I'll never solicit or do anything outside of the videos. So if I don't mention something in a video, it's probably not me. And speaking of asking for money and whatever, I just wanted to thank those of you who have been generous enough to send us a donation, whether it's through PayPal or through the super thanks button on YouTube, or those of you who are regular contributors over on Patreon. It's all very much appreciated, and it all helps me continue to produce these videos for you on rebuilding these old wrecks. So I hope you all have a good one, and we'll be back again next week. Not sure what we're working on, but it's probably going to be more rusty junk. Big spoiler there. Take care.